Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for Pretty Little Liars, Season 5, Episode 2, Whirly Girlie. And this episode, wow, another amazing episode from this show. I mean, seriously, bringing Allie back has made the show so much more interesting. I've talked about it before, and it's true. It really has made things a lot more interesting. I'm really looking forward, especially this episode. I mean, I think this episode is actually better than the premiere. I love the premiere, but this episode, actually, they stepped it up in this episode because of the acting in this episode. The acting was so strong in this episode. Probably some of the best acting we've seen. I really like that they've made Allison the main focus of this show. Because, she is essentially the reason why this whole show started. So I'm glad that she's basically the main character now. So yeah, overall I love this episode. That was fantastic and wow, I loved it. So in the very beginning we see that right away they are now back in Rosewood, because they don't have to hide in New York anymore. And Allison and, they arrive back to Rosewood, on that bus. And the liars want Allison to go straight to the police station. She's about to leave, but Emily's like, you don't have to run anymore because A is dead. And they want her to go straight to the police and tell them that she is alive and everything that has happened since the Jenna thing. And the five of them head into the police station, and they're greeted by Detective Holbrooke. Now again, if you recall, Allison did not want to talk to Holbrooke last week. We don't know why. We find out why in this next scene. Allison lies to Holbrooke, basically to protect Arya. That's why she wants to do it, because she basically wants to protect Arya, and she doesn't tell the truth. She says that she was kidnapped and held hostage for 2 years, and Arya Spencer and Emily saved her, and they're very confused at this, and Holbrooke is not exactly buying her story. She claims that she escaped from her captor in Ravenswood, and the liars hid her in a cabin in the woods to protect her. Her dad, Kenneth, arrives at the percent, and Allison rushes into his arms, interrupting the interrogation, because she hasn't seen him in years, and he's very happy to see her. So, yeah, that was very interesting. So Spencer and Emily arrive at the Hastings house, and Spencer wants to go to bed, but her mom is very furious that Spencer didn't tell her that Allison was alive. And then we see a similar scene with Hannah and Ashley. Ashley's also upset that Hannah didn't tell her. But, basically, she reminds her that there is a dead girl in Allison's grave, and they don't know who it is. She also reveals that Melissa and her dad went to Philadelphia to get her car because it was impounded. So, we still don't know what Melissa said to her dad. I guess they're just going to keep not telling us till later. It's probably not going to be till the mid-season finale of the show, which is perfectly fine, because I like when the show does keep you guessing. It doesn't just, tell you things straight out. I like that they do that. So, then we see that Mike pays Arya a visit in her room. We see that Arya is trying to figure out what's going on with Ezra. She's not getting any word on Ezra. She's calling at the hospital. She's like, hello, can I get a word on Ezra? And we see Mike, and Arya says that he got hurt in New York, and Mike is confused how she saw him in New York if she was in Philadelphia, because, he does not know that she was in New York, and he wants to know about Allison's captor, but Arya says she's tired and kicks him out of her room, and he says it's true that Allison's alive, but she does not want to talk about it. She just doesn't want to. So Spencer heads outside with Emily, and Spencer's livid that Allison lied to the police, and she says that they're back on planet Allison. The reason this episode's called Whirly Girlie is because she says we're on this Whirly Girlie ride, because basically they have to cover up for Allison, and she's tired of basically being on planet Allison, as she calls it. She's really tired of covering up for Allie, and she's just tired of doing it, so she's really tired of that, and, even though Allie had good intentions, Spencer does have a right to be upset at her. Because even though, as I said, Allie did have good intentions with doing that, she does have a right to be upset with her. And basically, she says they're stuck lying for Allison. They're distracted, but then they see Jason cleaning the backseat of his car in the middle of the night, who Jason, very suspicious in this episode. I have no idea if we can trust Jason. He's very, very suspicious. He's cleaning the backseat of his car in the middle of the night, and Allison tossed them her cell phone out her bedroom window. And she got a text from an unknown number, and it says, the truth will bury you in a New York minute. We don't know what that means, but that was really big right there. As I said, I really like this, that it's focusing on Allison. Now, Allison then is back in her bedroom, and after she's back in her bedroom, after all this time, and we finally see her dad. And it's really interesting. I like that we really got to see her dad in this episode, because we got to see what her dad was like. We got to see what her dad is like to her, how her dad would treat her about this. I really like that we focused a lot more on Allison this episode. It was very well done. And her dad asks her if she would feel safer sleeping downstairs. Allison wants to sleep in her room, though, and he reveals that he and Jason have been trying to reach, her mother. and they can't find her, though. So Kenneth had the police put up a barrier at the end of the street so that people can't come and bother her about her kidnapping. Now, we know that her mother, was put into that grave, and she's basically dead. So, basically, her dad vows to do everything he can to help her forget about her kidnapping, and he shows her a picture of her when she was young, and says he has been carrying it in his wallet since she disappeared. And then, unfortunately, just why would you do this? Seriously, you're gonna put more stress on her. He then reveals that he's planning on getting divorced with Jessica anyway. It's just like, what's wrong with you? Why would you do that? And then we get I really like this plot, actually. I really liked Arya's stuff in this episode. Arya is home in bed, and she's dreaming, and she keeps having flashbacks of when she killed Shauna, because any individual, if they killed someone, they would contemplate doing it, because, Arya is feeling really upset that she killed Shauna, and I myself was kind of like, okay, I would never think, because I myself never thought Arya would do that, and so I'm actually happy that she, is kind of just like, she's very uneasy about doing it, so she keeps hearing this violin music going, she doesn't know where it's coming from, but she keeps hearing it, she thought it was in her dream, and then when she wakes up, she can still hear it, and it's coming out her window, she has no idea where it's coming from, and Hannah then calls Arya and tells her about the text message that he received, that Allison received, and Allie got to the police station, and that is why she lied to Holbrooke at the last minute. Because she was trying to protect Arya. That's basically why she did this in the first place. She was just trying to protect Arya, and even though, as I said, she did have good intentions, they have a reason to be upset with her. So, Kenneth then goes to Ashley to pay a visit in the morning, and he needs to find Jessica De Laurentiis, who, of course, is Allison's mom. Now, Ashley, he wants Ashley to go through her emails because he doesn't know the password, and Jason isn't any help because he has done so many drugs, Jason's pretty much high all the time, and Kenneth thinks he's brain dead and hasn't shed a tear since Allie returned. Keep in mind, Hannah can hear this whole conversation. She's listening in, so that's pretty big. So, the next day, Allison then sits down with Jason and tries to talk to him. Because before she was trying to sleep, but she kept hearing noises and waking up, and, it was very creepy. As I said, Jason in this episode, very creepy. Because Allison sits down with Jason and tries to talk to him. She asks what her mom's reaction was when she found out she was alive. And Jason says that she was stunned. And a woman from the dog shelter arrives and says that Jessica had arranged for her to drop off a dog today, and Jason tells her to take the dog back. And it's just like, what's the problem with taking a dog? And Allison keeps it, and that's really creepy, actually. This woman is just like, hey, you want to buy a dog? It's just like, okay, then. I mean, if a woman came up to me and said, hey, do you want to buy this dog? I'd be like, can I see a record of this happening? Like, seriously, I understand that this is just a show, but seriously, that is very creepy that this dog just shows up out of nowhere. I knew when the dog showed up that something bad was going to happen. Mike then runs into Mona. She has, and basically, Arya then goes, to her house, and Mike is there with Mona, and Mona is acting like Mother Teresa, like, seriously, Mona is being so prissy in this scene. She's like, hello, Arya. She's like, hello, Arya, how are you? That's literally how she says it, and she's talking like this throughout the whole time, like everything is okay. When we know that Mona's a psychotic bitch. So the second that Mike leaves, it turns out she's ordered all of them rape whistles for everyone in school since Allison kidnapped her is still out there, and Mike tells her that he misses her, and Arya's just like, quit the bullshit, Mona, we know what you did, and this is really big, because Arya tells Mona, Allie told us what you did the night that she got kidnapped, you're just as much of a victim as she is. And then Mona says something really, really interesting. I'm just like, I don't know exactly where this is going, but I'm really looking forward to seeing where this is going, because this was honestly, really, really big. It's really, really big there. What happened. I'll talk about that in a second, but basically, Arya, the next morning, Emily and Spencer go through the De Laurentiis garbage to see what Jason was throwing away. They find a bag from a bakery in New York and realize that he was in New York when they were, and they think that Mrs. De Laurentiis had Jason tracking Allison, and Jason may be the one who hits Allie over the head with a shovel, and that is why Miss De Laurentiis covered for him and buried her, because as we know, Spencer did not hurt Allie. We know that it had nothing to do with what Spencer did. Spencer had nothing to do with hitting Allie with a shovel. It could have been Jason, though. And you know what? I'm kind of thinking that it's not Jason, that they're trying to trick us. I just think that Jason is a really bad problem and he needs a lot of help, but I kind of like that Jason's a lot like Ezra now, because every scene with Jason is very, very creepy, just like Ezra last year, and that's a lot like Ezra last year, and I like that they're doing that. So Arya's freaking out again because someone filled her MP3 player with violin music, like the song that Shauna used to play, because as we know, Shauna played the violin, so that's why Arya's freaking out so much, because Shauna used to play the violin. It's not what Arya wants to think about right now. She has so much else on her plate. So Emily and Spencer's head to Allie's and fill her in on their suspicion about Jason, and Allie confesses that he snuck into her bedroom last night and was watching her sleep. And basically they say, whoa, that is really creepy. You better sleep. You should just ask to sleep at Spencer's. And, Allie says, well, my dad's not okay with that happening, and there's no way he's going to let me out of the house. And you can see that Spencer's really pissed at Allie, because even though she understands what she's doing is good intentions, she wants her to, just grow up a little bit. She has, grow up a little bit. Stop being such a, pussy, basically. She doesn't tell her that specifically, but seriously, Allie needs to stop being such a pussy, because she really is. All Allie is really doing is just taking the easy way out, and Allie should not be doing this. She should not be taking the easy way out, and I think that's why Allie's such an interesting character, because she she always takes the easy way out. So, yeah, that was pretty interesting. So, Hannah finds her mom in the kitchen. She's on her laptop contemplating, opening her emails, and Hannah reassures her that it's the right thing to do because Allie needs her mom right now. The phone rings and Ashley walks away, and Hannah snoops through her computer. So Spencer heads into her kitchen and finds Toby. Yes, Toby has returned, talking to her mom, and Toby reveals that he went to Ren's house in London just to find... He did this just for Spencer. It really shows how much of a great boyfriend Toby is to Spencer. Ren says Melissa wasn't even in London. That means that she lied to her parents. She said the reason she came home is because Toby told her that she was missing. And according to Toby, he never actually saw Melissa. And that's really big, actually. So, where did Melissa go? We don't know. So, Emily finds Arya in a shed in the woods, and I really love this next scene. I thought the acting in this scene between Shay Mitchell, I think her name is, Shay Mitchell, and Lucy Hale, very good acting here. Emily finds Arya in a shed in the woods, trying to make it look like they had hidden Alice in there, like she told the police, because Allie lied to the police, so they have to make it look like it was true. And Arya she breaks down at this point. She says she says, I can't get over the fact that I killed Shauna. I'm not going to be able to live with it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to live with it. And, regardless of whatever she was she still killed somebody. And Emily says that, when she killed, somebody, I don't remember who she killed, but, remember when Emily killed somebody, she says how, Emily says how, that tells her that in the moment it was Arya or Shauna, one of them wasn't going to live, and Arya was just defending herself, and Emily knew that when she killed that one person. I don't remember who she killed, though. Oh my god, who did she kill? Guys, I didn't see all of Season 3, so that's why I don't know who she killed, so I'm sorry about that. So Hannah finds an email to Miss DeLaurentis in Miss DeLaurentis' drafts, and it says, it doesn't say who it is to, just says, I can't protect you anymore. That's all it says. So we don't know what that means, but that's all it says. So Kenneth is arguing with Jason, and he told his dad that he has to go to Philadelphia to drop something off to a friend, and Kenneth is scared that Jason is going to talk to a reporter. He is convinced that Jason is going to see Miss DeLaurentis in Philly, and Emily overhears this from talking. They don't want this to happen, obviously. So then we see we see also, by the way, Spencer and Toby end up having sex, which is really big because after that happens, Spencer says, you know what, the next time that you want to go to London, I'm coming with you and we're not coming back. And that's really big because I kind of have a feeling that's what's going to happen, is that Toby and Spencer are going to go to London together and they're not coming back. Honestly, I would like that, even though Spencer's my second favorite character on the show. I really would like that. I would like to see that because I think it'd be interesting for the show to do that, actually. So then we get to a really creepy scene. Arya arrives in her room, and there's Mona and Mike. And of course, two people she least want to see right now. The two people she does not want to see at all. Mike hands her the MP3 player and said he borrowed it for a project, and Arya was just paranoid. The violin music was just playing from his room, and he was the one that put it on her MP3 player. Now then we see, though, when, and Mona's acting all nice and everything. She's like, hello, Arya, how are you? And she gives her the rape whistle and everything. And it's very creepy here, because Arya then says, you know what, Mona, cut the bullshit. I know you're lying, and I know what happened, I know what happened the night Allie went missing. And, basically, Mona then says something very, very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes, because this is a really big thing. She says, so how is Mr. Fitz doing? Boom! How does Mona know about that? How does Mona know? Mona was not in New York with them. She was not in New York. She was not there when Ezra got shot. So how does Mona know? My only assumption is that Mona is the one that shot Ezra. Because Mona's acting very suspicious right now. She's acting very suspicious. I'm getting very suspicious about Mona, and I think that Mona is the one that shot Ezra. I'm pretty sure she did. I don't know, but that's just an assumption, but I'm pretty sure that Mona was the one that shot Ezra. So, Hannah then delivers some copies of the emails her mom found to Miss DeLaurentis, to Mr. DeLaurentis, I should say, Kenneth, and she and Emily head outside and sit in her car. Hannah shows Emily the email saying that she can protect someone, and Emily reveals that she thinks Jason is hiding Miss DeLaurentis in Philly. Then we get probably the second creepiest scene in this episode. Jason is knocking on the window, and he's just like, my mom didn't want my dad to have her emails, and they told me to stop snooping around. Climbs in his car, drives off, and Hannah and Emily follow him, drives into a dark building in a shady part of town, and then he leaves. Now, they're looking at the buzzer, trying to figure out who Jason just visited, and all I know is that there's this really weird old guy there that tells them to leave. And honestly, I didn't find that guy scary. I found him kind of funny. He's just like, get out of my yard and leave! Like, seriously, that's what he sounded like. I mean, that guy, honestly, that was funny, but it's just like, where the fuck did Jason just go? Who is this old guy? Who is this guy that they just met up with? It's really weird. I overall thought that was a pretty good scene, though. So Spencer and Toby are laying in bed together, and her phone is ringing off the hook. She presses the ignore button, Toby presses her to tell him what is going on. And, Allie then heads to the crypt to visit her grave in the middle of the night with a flower. She kind of wants to get rid of the person that she used to be. She doesn't want to be this bitchy girl anymore. She's tired of being the same bitchy Allie. She's tired of being that, and she knows she can't be that anymore. And Mona arrives, and this is probably the creepiest scene in the episode. And because Allie says she came to say goodbye to the person in her grave because that person is gone. Basically, it's not so much and you know what, some people said the whole thing with Allie burying her own grave, putting a rose in her own grave was creepy. It's more of Allie getting rid of the person she was when she disappeared. She's realizing she can't be the same person she used to be. She can't be the head bitch anymore. She can't be the mean girl anymore. She has to be a completely different person now, and you know what, I like that Allie learned that in this episode. Because, Allie begs Mona she says, Mona, please, just be my friend, that's all I need from you. And Mona says, no, Mona confesses that she was the one that sent that text to her about the truth burying her, and Allie is going to wish that she stayed dead. Now I'm really thinking that Mona is the second A, because as we know, there are two A's, there's one A, and then there's a second A. And I'm thinking that Mona is actually A, and Shauna was the second A, but Mona is the actual A. That's what I'm thinking is actually going on here, and if that's the case, that's awesome, because, one, Mona's just so creepy this season. Last season, I thought Mona had changed her ways, but now that Allie's back, she's just, like, so creepy, and I'm really thinking that Mona is the one that shot Ezra. I'm really thinking that. I don't know, I really am thinking that. So Arya's having another meltdown and announced to Hannah and Emily that she's going to the cops. If Mona knows about New York, then she knows that Arya killed Shauna. So we're going to have to see what happens there. So, they've called a meeting and everything, and Spencer decides to head, they decide to head to the De Laurentiis' house and try and sneak Allison out so that she can come to their meeting. Walks into the house and finds Jason sitting in the dark living room, calls Spencer out by going through their trash, and Jason wants to know why it matters and wants to know if she thinks he kidnapped Allie. And then before they can answer anything and before they can get Allie out, they're interrupted by Allie's dog, who's just constantly barking in the backyard, it's just barking really loudly. And then guess what they see? Arya, Spencer, Jason, Emily, and Hannah all run out to the yard, and they find the dog digging up Mrs. De Laurentiis' body. And that's how the episode ends. It was really sad to see, especially, oh my god, the look on Jason's face was just bitter sorrow. He had no idea about this. even though Jason might be suspicious, he had nothing to do with this. Jason has nothing to do with this. And I really think it was Mona. Mona is out to get revenge on Allie right now. Mona is out to get revenge on... Mona could have shot Ezra. Mona said to Allie's face that she's gonna wish she stayed dead. So I'm thinking that Mona did this. Because Mona seems so crazy this season that I think it was Mona that was the one that did it. I know it's a crazy theory. I know it sounds like old because, you know, Mona was A in season 2, and ever since then she's been crazy, not crazy, crazy, not crazy. This season she's probably the craziest we've ever seen her. But overall, you know, this episode was awesome. I love this episode. I thought it was really, really awesome. A lot of stuff I'm wondering though. One, is Allie going to finally tell the truth to Holbrooke? I'm thinking she will, but if she does, Arya's going to jail if that happens. Arya's going to go to jail, and there's, you know, even though she killed someone, it could be she's going to jail for doing that. So we'll have to see, because I'm thinking that Shauna was not actually it was, you know, Mona probably hired her. Do you think that Mona is A? I really think it's Mona that's doing all this. I think Mona shot Ezra because of the statement she said to Arya. That's something that's happening there. Also, Spencer, do you think her and Toby are going to London? I think they're going to go to London eventually. Like, they're going to go to London by themselves to figure out what's going on with this whole thing. But I love this episode. I thought it was definitely a really, really great episode. I've really been enjoying this episode. Also, what's the deal with Jason? Why is Jason so creepy? What do you think is going on with that? And who buried, Misty Lawrence's body? It looks like next week's episode is going to be really, really awesome. You know, basically, Allie's going to be mourning over the death of her mother. I can't wait to see... I mean, it's going to be really sad to see Allie's reaction. I would have wanted to see it in this episode, but we didn't see that. But we're also going to see Allie returning back to Rosewood High, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, I love this episode. I thought it was fantastic. I've been loving Pretty Little Liars. I'm back to loving it again. But that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Chasing Life. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.